Hi everyone, my name is Donkey and today we're back on the RTS project. So in the last video we're having some issues with the unit selection. Have been having these issues for a while, and so I went outside the video and actually kind of fixed the problem. Turns out it was really quite an easy fix. I can't really remember though, this is the problem, I can't really remember what the old version looked like. So I'm kind of just going to show you guys what I did and then show you the code that I came up with to kind of fix it. It was pretty simple. So you can see we've added this like extra bit here, but just to prove that it is working. It's got a few flaws, but with the actual selection it is working. We can select them separately or we can select them together. And yeah, it's working in that aspect, with the selection and stuff and movement to a point. So what did I actually do to think this through and why I couldn't have really done that in one video? I'll just keep this running in the background. So the first thing I did was I decided to add this little circle thing here, and it looks a bit weird, out of place, but that's actually where our X and Y coordinates are for our unit, this unit. So that's the point where it needs to be detected. The reason I was doing this was so that I could bring this guy over here and bring this one here and see what was going on, see what was happening. So that little bit of code, if you want it, it's pretty simple. I'll just show you guys quickly though. Not there. Control, I think. Maybe not. Overlay, perhaps? It's a mystery. Here it is. So basically for each basic unit I drew a different rectangle, like a round rectangle. It's actually more of a circle, but on the point where it is plus or minus 10. So that's kind of simple, and the only reason I did that was so that I could test things. And I'm going to go through why I decided to do that. Because basically in the last video we checked through this bit of code and there wasn't anything wrong with it, as we could find. I added this bit here, if start x does not equal, I don't think this actually does anything, I think you can probably ignore that, but if it doesn't work you can always just add that in. That was just a little catch to make sure that it wasn't checking between -1 and the mouse x, because obviously that would always be true. So yeah, that was something, just an extra little check there. I don't think that was the problem. So then what I decided to do was I was like, okay, so it's not a problem here, so maybe it's a problem with our start x, or I'm like, it can't be a problem with our mouse coordinates, right? So it's got to be a problem with our start x, and then I was kind of looking into here, which is where we get our start x from. And that all has stuff to do with the mouse buttons and checking it's in ranges and all sorts of weird things like that. So that was the point where I decided, yeah, this is probably where we need to add in the little circles, because we need to know whether we've selected them or whether it's just that we've not been in the range, or like, you know, what's going on. And so I did that. I added that in, and then I started to notice something quite weird happening, and you guys could probably replicate it if you haven't done the code now, whereby if we went here, that would be fine, it would work, and if we did that, that would also work, and that would be exactly the same. But if we did that, it wouldn't work, and I was starting to think, like, why wouldn't that work? And in fact, if we did that, it wouldn't work to start with, but as soon as we select this one, they'd both load in as being there. So I was thinking, right, okay, this is a little bit weird, why is it doing that? Especially because here's where we actually add the units. So I was thinking, okay, that's a little bit odd. So then I looked to this bit of code, and this is button pressing, we don't need to look at that, so the else is almost always going to be called, and the button check is, again, almost always going to be called when we're pressing. So then we're kind of looking at this bit, and yeah, this is where the -1 bit is just an extra little catch, but that's kind of alright there. This is just resetting variables, and here was the problem. Here basically what we were saying was that if script is between, and it was something like object basic unit.x instead of id. Is between start x and mouse x. So basically the idea of this code was to check if there was actually a unit inside our range, and if there wasn't, then we don't need to draw the little box at the bottom, but if there is, then we want to draw the box. And the problem with this was that object basic unit, if you call it here, only refers to the first one that's created. So that's why we were getting the really weird bit where you could only select it if the first one was happening first, because this was only being set if we'd selected that first unit. And you may be asking, well, that's just a drawing bit, but actually, back over here, draw 2 controls the whole of this bit of code from setting off. So actually the problem was here, and we kind of overlooked that, I guess, in the video. So the problem was right at the start, if draw 2, and that was never being called unless we had selected the first unit first. So if we hadn't selected the first unit, this wasn't happening, and that's why it was only ever adding them if we selected the first unit first, and that's why it's kind of jumping around and stuff. And yeah, it was a little bit weird, but it is working now. So I'm just going to full screen that. It's kind of this bit that's changed here. So if you guys just want to pause it here, maybe copy it down. It's not masses, it's a few little changes. I'm not going to bother going through and explaining this because we've probably done this before. It's the same as this here. So yeah, if you guys just want to copy that down real quick. Right, so kind of the next thing on our list of bug fixes, I guess, is to do with our movement. So at the moment, our unit selection is working. It is working nicely, actually. So we can select 2 units, 1 unit, 3 units, whatever we want. That's a small little problem there, but the gist of it is that we can select as many units as we want, and that's kind of fine. What we do want to do, though, is we want to have the movement work a little bit better. So at the moment, if you've just got this one unit like conjoined together, it works fine. If you add another unit in, and we try and control, a little bit weird there as well. If we try and control this unit, there's some weird things happening. I think that's pretty obvious. It seems to be like random teleportation, but only if it's going up or down. And very specific. I think it's very specifically down, actually. Yeah, I think it's just down. Down or across? Yeah, down or across. But only across like a long distance. Very weird. So yeah, that's going to be next on our list of tasks to kind of do with that. I think probably better find the bit here. Yeah, so I think probably the key problem here, maybe, is to do with this. So this is actually being called from... Yep, I think that's fine as is. I think there's probably just a few problems with the kind of movement itself, and the per unit basis. Yeah, I mean this could definitely do with some tweaking a little bit, because I think we can just do self actually. Yeah. Basically, wherever we see an object basic unit, that's just referring to the whole unit. We kind of just want to really make that specific to each one. I doubt that'll fix anything, to be honest, but it's a nice little thing to practice. I don't know. It's looking good so far. Just try this. We should have really noted down what was causing the problems. Actually, that might have solved it really quick, actually. Yeah. Can't see any problems. I don't know. I'll keep it as that. If any of you guys see like a problem, and you'd like to like point it out, then feel free to. But yeah, there you can see as well, this is where the unit selection really comes in handy. And this is where really the RTS game starts to shine. because you can do so many things. You know, we can select so many units and get them to do lots of different things. And also the like, yeah, I think there's probably a few problems with these tiles. Maybe they seem to be generating a lot more than they should be. This is kind of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It might be proportionate to the number of tiles. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, okay, so we probably need to fix that a little bit. The amount of wood seems to be proportionate to the number of units you have. So it's kind of like 3 times the amount of units you have. So we probably need to sort that out. But for the moment, we've got the unit selection working, we've got the movement working. The only thing really left on our unit selection journey is to drop units from our selection. So just to demonstrate that, because we have this at the bottom, we could probably neaten this up. We probably will at some point. But what we want to do is be able to like click on it and it goes. I mean, that's not an ideal representation, but if we have like 2 here, we should be able to click on that one and make it into a button as well. We'll click on that one and it will drop it, so we'll just have the 1 unit. And that'll be quite useful when they're all clustered together, so we can separate them again. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video. If you like this video, remember to like, subscribe, or ideas want to do, and I'll talk to you in the next one.